In the world of kitchen cabinetry, there are three common choices a homeowner will have for the construction style of their kitchens. But what most do not realize is that one of these choices can lead to a more functional kitchen overall, one of the choices will give you a much more structurally sound kitchen, and one of the choices you should likely avoid. In this video, we'll look at the pros and cons of all three, and I'll let you be the judge. But before that, a brief overview of the three construction styles. First, we have the most popular in North America, the framed overlay cabinet. This cabinet has what's called a face frame and a door that either partially or fully covers or overlays that frame. This is where we get the term full or half overlay. The frame has two parts, a stile, the vertical part, and a rail, the horizontal part. You may hear the term stile and rail when talking about framed cabinets. This is what it's referring to. It's one of the most common cabinet construction styles out there, and it's very popular with local cabinet makers. Now, if you are from the Great White North, you're very likely familiar with the next construction style, the frameless or European style cabinet. As the name suggests, this construction style forgoes the face frame, with the hinges mounting directly on the cabinet gables, or sides. By default, these would be a full overlay. You'll commonly find this style of cabinet in a flat packed box that are ready to assemble. IKEA would be a popular place to find frameless cabinets. The third construction style is gaining a lot of popularity as of late, especially in the custom cabinet world. Inset cabinets, as the name suggests, has the doors and the drawer fronts mounted flush with the face frame. Instead of doors mounted on the outside, they're inset into the frame, giving them a higher end furniture look. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of each. Framed cabinets are a great choice if you're looking for a traditional farmhouse or even transitional style of kitchen. It's very classic looking. Along with that classic style comes a very strong structural support due to the face frame, which helps the cabinets stay nice and square. This is very important for door and drawer alignments, and the owners of framed cabinets tend to adjust their drawers and doors much less than other styles. Face-framed cabinets also have the most versatility in style, as they can be either partial or full overlay and inset. Partial overlay will give you that older farmhouse vibe, while a full overlay will look more frameless, giving you a modern appeal. When it comes to installation, hanging framed cabinets on a wall typically requires less fillers, as the frame itself acts as a filler that can be easily scribed to a wall. This makes it easier to hide imperfections and creates a nice, seamless installation. Because of their durability, framed cabinets usually have a longer lifespan. Plus, many builders construct these in large sections instead of cabinet by cabinet, again adding to the structural soundness, speed of install, and the longevity of the kitchen. They do have some cons, however, especially if you're trying to maximize every square inch of your kitchen interior space for storage. The space that each frame takes up means slightly less interior cabinet space. Not a big deal when you're talking about a single cabinet, but over the span of an entire kitchen, this can start to add up. Homeowners mostly notice this with drawer cabinets. Modern kitchens tend to have as many drawers as possible, and for good reason. But framed cabinets, by design, will make each drawer a little bit smaller. For those looking for that modern or minimalist style, the framed kitchen will make it much harder to achieve, especially if a stile, the vertical part of the frame, is between two doors. However, as mentioned before, a full overlay hinge can help give you that modern look for this cabinet type. If the cabinet does have a center stile, likely found in cabinets that are over 24 inches wide, it makes the cabinet interior much harder to access and can make storing large items a lot more challenging. Plus, we're dealing with more material during construction and likely more craftsmanship to make these cabinets, which is good, but it can also add to the overall cost of your kitchen. And you might not be able to install some of the more modern cabinet accessories that tend to favor frameless designs. While framed cabinets would not be my personal first choice, because of a Canadian bias that I'll talk about in a minute, I do think that overall a framed cabinet is likely the best option out there for the medium to large size kitchen owners. When designed with function in mind, I really do think you can't go wrong. Speaking of designing with function in mind, let me help you with that during a one-on-one consultation. We'll chat for an hour or so about your kitchen renovation or your new build, answer questions, look at options for lighting, layouts, countertops, and anything else that relates to your kitchen. I'd love to meet you, and there's a link in the description below to find out more details. All right, the Canadian bias. I can't speak for the whole country, but if it's popular on the East Coast where I am, that means it was likely popular in the big cities like 20 years ago. For my entire career, the frameless or European style cabinet has been the go-to for both custom and RTA dealers. If you're going for that modern, contemporary, or Scandi-Japandi style kitchen, frameless cabinet construction will get you there the fastest. Because these cabinets are the fullest of overlays with usually only a 1/16 of an inch clearance between doors, it makes for a very seamless and clean design. The lack of the face frame allows for a full access cabinet interior, meaning you have the maximum amount of storage space available to you. Therefore, your drawer interiors will hold more items and there will never be a cabinet style, the vertical part, in your way. And if you have a kitchen layout that requires some narrower cabinets in some areas, you'll get the most use out of these by using frameless cabinets. As mentioned, many frameless cabinets come with a flat packed box option, commonly called RTA, ready to assemble. And this makes frameless cabinets a popular choice for many DIYers who can essentially go to almost any big box store, load up their half-ton truck with an entire kitchen, and completely ruin their weekend trying to assemble the whole thing. Because of this easy shipping capability, many online companies also offer a ton of selection for RTA cabinets. As mentioned, IKEA is probably the biggest and most recognized dealer of RTA cabinets in the world. They've done a great job of balancing quality and price. But to further my personal bias, because not only am I Canadian, but for about 18 years of my career, I dealt primarily with custom frameless cabinets and have installed them in all of my homes. However, frameless cabinets can get a bad rap because of the build quality. With a framed cabinet, you can get away with a slightly lower build quality, but in frameless construction, you definitely can't. Many cheaply built RTA cabinets are on the market, and homeowners will soon notice sagging or racking, meaning the cabinet's not square, of their investment. This can become an issue if you're concerned with having to adjust doors and drawer fronts, because you'll have to do that quite often. Misalignments for doors and drawers are very easy to spot in a frameless cabinet. While the cost of frameless kitchens are usually lower than a framed kitchen, you'll need to be aware of the quality of construction that you're receiving and balance that out with how the kitchen will be used and who will be using it. You might be saving on price, but if the hinge mounting clips tear out of the cabinet gable when your kid climbs on the door to get to his sippy cup, it'll likely end up costing you more in the long run. Again, because of my personal bias and great success with frameless cabinetry, I will likely always select this option. However, overall, it would be my second choice when giving homeowners like yourselves an option. Unless you're Canadian, then it's just a no-brainer. Now, you are likely on Pinterest much more than I am, and you're likely familiar with this popular design style as of late, the Inset cabinet. Inset cabinets are not new, they've been around for a long time, but they've recently been gaining a lot of popularity in the high-end kitchen market. That means many lower-end companies, and I mean that respectfully, are starting to include Inset cabinet options into their catalogs. Because hey, we all want a piece of the pie, right? Inset cabinets have all the pros of framed cabinets, because that's what they are. So at first glance, it should be a no-brainer, right? You're getting the benefit of all the structural support and at the same time a very high-end furniture design aesthetic. And let's face it, maybe we are getting a little bit tired of the full overlay look. But Inset cabinets also have an additional list of cons to consider. Since the door and the drawer sit inside the frame, more storage and access to the capacity is eaten up. This will be very noticeable in smaller kitchens and in smaller cabinet sizes. Again, when storage is at a premium, you need to make a decision between a design style and function. The width of interior pullouts will be narrower so that they can pull out past the bulkier Inset hinge. This is most noticeable in pantry cabinets with pullouts for easy access. Inset cabinets require a very high level of craftsmanship in both construction and installation, meaning you are likely to pay upwards of 30% more for a quality build. And you should, because a low quality build will create even more problems. One being door and drawer adjustments. And you'll likely need many adjustments, especially if you live in part of the world that has 4 seasons. The changes in pressure and humidity will lead to a lot of expansion and contraction of your cabinet doors. If they are inset into the frame, they'll stick during some seasons and have massive gaps in others. The imperfections in door alignments will become very noticeable, and for some people, that's a real annoyance. Modern concealed hinges have 3 points of adjustment. Now, this screw adjusts the door like this. This screw adjusts the door like this, or in and out. And this screw adjust the door like this, up and down. 3 points of adjustment. On framed or frameless cabinets, this screw will be the one that you use the most. It adjusts the door this way, or this way, back and forth, so that there's less gap between the doors. The other two screws you rarely ever have to touch after the initial installation. However, on an inset door, all three of these need to be in perfect balance and adjusted often for the door to operate smoothly and to keep all the gaps looking equal. And when you don't do this, it leads to excessive wear and tear on the door and drawer edges as they rub on the frame. Overall, inset cabinets are a lot less user-friendly. I do love the look of inset cabinets. I can see the appeal, but I would be very careful when making this decision. If you're in the higher end market and can afford a very good quality inset cabinet construction, and you live in a climate that has less issues with humidity, and you don't have a bunch of kids or other people using the kitchen, then I'd probably say go for it. But if you're the average homeowner with the average budget, with the average family size, I wouldn't touch this style with a 10-foot pole. I think in the long run, you'll be looking for trouble and ultimately wasting your money. Which cabinet construction do you prefer? Talk it out in the comments.